Our market analyst this week is North Dakota State Extension economist Frayne Olson. The latest crop progress report, which is the last for the 2013 growing season, showed U.S. winter wheat in much better shape than a year ago. 63% of the crop is rated in good to excellent condition. That's 30 points higher than at this time in 2012. Frayne joined us Tuesday afternoon to look at wheat, corn, and soybean markets. We started by looking at the current condition of this year's winter wheat crop.
Yeah, we got the last winter wheat condition report for several months now. And in general, the winter wheat crop is in pretty good shape, much better than we saw last year, but the condition ratings did slip a little bit. Right now, nobody's really concerned about the current condition because it is relatively good.
Yeah, like you mentioned, that we're miles above where it was last year.
Without a doubt. Last year was obviously we went into dormancy with a lot of real concerns about what might happen as we break dormancy next spring, but this year's a much different animal.
All right, so for the production that already took place earlier this year, give me some updates on the export market for wheat.
Yeah, and that's really been where a lot of the activity has been placed. The normal, our typical buyers like the Japans and the Mexicos and the other Pacific Rim countries have actually been very steady in their purchases. The surprise this year has really been the export pace into both China and Brazil, and I know we talked about that briefly last time. The reason for the Chinese purchases was primarily because of some quality issues that they had. They're in the market, world market, for some milling quality wheat. They've got plenty of feed quality wheat. The other major export destination for U.S. wheat has been Brazil, which has also been a surprise. Typically, they buy a lot of their wheat from Argentina, but this year Argentina is having some problems and are really limiting the amount of exports. So the amount of sales that we've made into both the Chinese market as well as the Brazilian market have been a surprise to us. I guess as I look forward, I think the key to the future Chinese purchases, if they continue, will be the potential size and quality of the Australian crop. And Brazil, the expectation right now is that they will continue to buy, but they do have to make some legislative decisions to allow more tariff-free imports, which again the market is currently expecting. I guess the only other thing that I want to comment on, which is pretty important for the wheat market in general, is the typhoon that happened in the Philippines. The Philippines also imports a lot of wheat, primarily from the U.S., both winter wheat and spring wheat. And so the typhoon and some of the damage that was done there may interrupt some of the distribution issues. The expectation right now is that the total quantity of exports probably won't change, but the timing of that may change a little bit. So it is something we'll need to keep an eye on.
Briefly, you mentioned Australia. Just give me an overview of kind of international production.
Right. The two things, just again to update everybody, the Canadian crop was a massive crop. It is now officially the largest on record, or at least within the current records that we have. Very large production. The biggest challenge they've got right now in Canada is logistics. Their logistics system is having a hard time handling not only the high quantity of spring wheat, but also the large canola crop they produced. The other thing that we need to keep probably a closer eye on is the Australian crop. Again, the expectation right now is to have a pretty good sized crop coming out of Australia. But more recently, we've had a lot of rain start to appear in Western Australia, which is raising some concerns about quality and especially milling quality wheat. And then in Eastern Australia, there was some late season frosts. And so there is some frost damage. We know that it's out there, but unfortunately, we don't yet know what the extent of it is. So we'll have to wait to see and listen to some of the early harvest reports. And again, if there's some quality issues there, I do look for some more export sales, especially of milling quality wheat into China. But if they have good export, good quality coming out of Australia, those export sales may shift into the Australian market instead of the U.S. market.
I want to jump into corn and beans because I want to get your thoughts here as we enter December and then going into 2014 here. We know corn is of abundant supply after this harvest, and we know that soybeans are going to be big down in South America this year. As you look at farmers with corn and beans after this harvest, what do you recommend they take a look at before they decide whether to sell or to hold?
Well, the corn and the soybean market are two actually very different markets in today's world. The corn market, we have ample supplies. The real question the corn market's trying to answer is how low do prices have to go before we start picking up more export sales? And so what I'm really looking for as a trigger for some potential sales would be if we get good export sales, we see a nice rebound in prices, that I would say that as a selling opportunity. Again, I don't expect big rallies to come out of those announcements, but they will be above today's levels, in my opinion. On the soybean side, much different story. Supplies are much tighter. The expectation is for another massive crop coming out of South America. They're just in the process of finishing up their planting season right now. So to be honest, as we move forward, we're going to be in a weather market based on the South American weather forecasts, and there might be some excitement later on.